There's one moment every athlete fears. Not the injury. Not the loss. But the silence after a game when your child looks at you and doesn't say a word. This is the story of the match where Ronaldo didn't play for trophies. He played for something far more human. And it changed him forever. The quietest promise he ever made. It wasn't a final. It wasn't a derby. It wasn't even a top-of-the-table clash. But for Ronaldo, that night mattered more than any of those. It started earlier in the day, back home. His son, Cristiano Jr., had been quiet during breakfast. Not sad. Not upset. Just distant. Ronaldo noticed immediately, he always did. "Something wrong, champ?" he asked, setting down his protein shake. The boy shrugged. "Just people at school. They talk a lot. About you." Ronaldo waited. "Good things?" "Sometimes." Then quieter, "Sometimes not." And that, right there, cut deeper than any injury. He had learned to tune out critics. Haters. Commentators. But his son? His son was hearing it now. Living in the shadow of a giant. Feeling the weight of that name, Ronaldo, without having chosen it. That evening, Ronaldo sat in the dressing room. Al Nassr's jersey on, boots laced tight. He stared down at his phone. The background photo was still the same, Cristiano Jr. laughing on a beach, 6 years old, sun in his eyes. He remembered something his own father once told him. "One day, you'll understand that playing for someone else is harder than playing for yourself." Tonight wasn't about fans. Or the club. Or even the league. Tonight, he was playing for a boy who needed to believe again. Kickoff under the lights. The stadium wasn't full, but it buzzed with energy. Ronaldo didn't speak much to his teammates. His focus was tunneled. Laser sharp. It wasn't nerves. It was something deeper. He had something to deliver, something more than a win. The game started slow. Opponents parked the bus. First 20 minutes? Nothing. Then a chance, he missed. The second? Blocked. The crowd grew restless. Commentators said, "Maybe he's past it." But Ronaldo didn't care. Because somewhere at home, his son was watching. And that mattered more. By halftime, it was still 0-0. The coach gave tactical instructions. Ronaldo didn't hear a word. In his mind, only one sentence kept repeating. "They talk about me at school." He walked up for the second half like it was war. 56th minute. A cross came in, he rose higher than anyone else on the pitch. Header. Goal. But he didn't celebrate. He ran to the corner flag, kissed his wrist, where his son's initials were tattooed, and pointed directly to the broadcast camera. No words. Just a look. Later that night, Cristiano Jr. would see it on his phone. No one else noticed it. But he did. That was his father's answer. And somehow, it was more than enough. The night he played for one smile. The locker room was buzzing. Music, high fives, laughter. But not from him. Ronaldo sat at the end of the bench, a towel around his neck, his jersey damp with sweat and silence. His goal had won the match. But it wasn't victory that filled his mind. It was whether one particular person had smiled, just once, at home. He reached for his phone. Missed calls. A few messages. Some from teammates, a couple from old friends. He ignored them all and opened the one app that still made his heart race, the home security camera. He clicked the feed, silent, grainy footage of his living room. And there, curled on the couch, was Cristiano Jr. remote in hand, half asleep, match replay on screen. And he was smiling. Ronaldo didn't screenshot it. Didn't save it. He didn't need to. The next day, sports news exploded. Ronaldo silences critics again. Vintage header reminds world who he is. Age is just a number for the king. But Ronaldo didn't post. No celebration photo. No training montage. Not even a quote. For the first time in years, he went quiet online. Not out of defiance, but reverence. The win had already been received by the only person who needed it. That week, Cristiano Jr. came home from school with something folded in his backpack. A letter from a classmate. Handwritten. No insults. No taunts. Just one line. Your dad is still the GOAT. He left it on Ronaldo's desk. That night, they didn't talk about it. They just sat on the terrace, watching the sky shift colors. Ronaldo with his protein shake, Cristiano Jr. with orange juice. Quiet. You know, the boy finally said, you didn't have to win it. Ronaldo smiled without looking. Yeah. I did. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like the footballer the world expected him to be. He felt like a dad who got it right. When the lights didn't matter anymore. There used to be a time when the lights meant everything. Spotlights. Stadium lights. Flashing cameras. Ronaldo had grown up chasing them. Living for the roar of a packed arena, the blinding bursts of celebration, the headlines that followed a well-placed shot. But something shifted. It started subtly. After the promise to his son, he noticed the lights didn't hit the same anymore. They still shined. Still flashed. But they didn't pull him the way they once had. That week, Al Nassr had another game. A mid-table team, a nothing-to-prove fixture. The coach rested a few starters. Asked Ronaldo if he wanted the night off. No, he said. I need the minutes. What he didn't say was, he needed the silence after. The clarity that came when the noise faded. The match began and ended uneventfully. He didn't score. Didn't assist. Played decently, worked hard, got subbed off around the 70th minute. No headlines. No hype. And that was exactly how he wanted it. That night, as the team bus pulled away from the stadium, he wasn't scrolling Twitter or checking ESPN. He was texting one person. Watched the game? A few minutes passed. Then came the reply. Yeah. You didn't score. But you looked fast. He laughed. Actually laughed. The kind of laugh that makes the driver glance at the rearview mirror just to make sure he's okay. Fast, huh? He typed. For your age. That night, he didn't review the game footage like he usually did. Instead, he watched old clips, not of himself, but of his son. Running down the beach. Kicking a ball with awkward balance. Scoring a goal in a youth match and turning to look, not at the coach, but at the stands, at him. That was when he realized something. He wasn't chasing greatness anymore. He was teaching it. In the quietest, most human way possible, by showing up. By staying sharp. By not quitting when no one else was counting. Because someday, Cristiano Jr. would have his own lights. His own games. His own silence after the final whistle. And when that day came, Ronaldo wanted his son to remember one thing. That greatness isn't about the noise. It's about who you are when it's gone. The question he never answered. By now, the media had stopped trying to decode him. He wasn't giving interviews anymore. Not the deep ones, at least. Post-match? Sure, quick words, polite thanks, generic smiles. But the real stuff? The truth? That stayed behind his eyes. And there was one question he never answered. Why are you still playing? Everyone asked it in some form. Pundits. Former teammates. Even some fans. They called it obsession. Pride. Ego. But none of them knew what had really changed. It wasn't about legacy. Or records. or the never-ending chase with Messi. Those games had ended in his mind long ago. He played because his son was watching. Because kids don't believe what you say, they believe what you do. And as long as Cristiano Jr. still looked up when he walked in the room, Ronaldo would keep walking in like a man still in the fight. There was one moment that week he'd never forget. Training ended early. The sun was setting behind the stadium roof. The rest of the team had already hit the showers, but he stayed on the pitch. Alone. Hitting free kicks. Same spot. Same angle. Over and over. Someone recorded it. Posted it online. The comments exploded. Why is he still grinding like this? Bro, it's just a league game. He's 39. What's he trying to prove? He read them all. Then turned his phone off. Later that night, Cristiano Jr. came into his room holding a sheet of paper. What's this? Ronaldo asked. A school thing, his son said. We had to write about someone we admire. Ronaldo raised an eyebrow. You chose me? The boy shrugged. You never stop showing up. He said it like it was obvious. Like it was nothing. Like he hadn't just said the one thing Ronaldo had needed to hear for years. That night, Ronaldo didn't train. Didn't stretch. Didn't ice his knees. He just sat outside with his son, under the quiet sky, and said nothing. Some answers don't need words. The only record that mattered. It wasn't on the pitch that he felt it. Not in the goals. Not in the fans' roar. It happened in the quietest moment of them all. At home. One morning. Cristiano Jr. was in the kitchen, finishing cereal, scrolling through his phone. Ronaldo walked in, towel over his shoulder, fresh from his workout. Routine. Ordinary. But the way his son looked up, it wasn't like before. There was something else in his eyes. Not just admiration. Something quieter. Deeper. Almost equal. Morning, the boy said. Morning, Ronaldo replied. And that was it. That morning, no articles were written. No cameras rolled. No goals were scored. But it was the moment Ronaldo knew he had become the kind of man his son might want to be. Not just the footballer. The father. Later that day, he opened an old storage box in the corner of his office. Inside were medals, trophies, boots, even the signed jersey from his first Ballon d'Or. He pulled out one item, a dusty frame. Inside it, a photo of him holding Cristiano Jr. as a baby. No stadium. No fans. Just a young man who hadn't yet made peace with what it meant to raise someone better than himself. He hung it on the wall. Right above his desk. In plain view. The only record that mattered. That evening, a journalist messaged his agent again. Same request. Can we ask him one last time, what keeps him going? This time, the agent asked Ronaldo directly. He paused. Thought about it. Then shook his head. No. Why not? Because if they don't know by now, they never will. That weekend, he played another match. Scored one. Assisted another. But the loudest cheer didn't come from the fans. It came from the VIP section. From one teenager in a black hoodie, standing and clapping like the game had just changed forever. Maybe it had. Because at the end of the day, the only legacy worth leaving is the one that watches you from the stands. And smiles. In a world that measures greatness by numbers, sometimes the real record isn't kept on paper. It's written in the eyes of the one person who knows who you are off the field. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't just build a legacy. He built a mirror his son could one day stand in front of. And say, that's the kind of man I want to be. If this story moved you, subscribe for more. There are still so many moments you haven't heard yet.